Hey DSA, it's Jenna Gaidusek here again this month with your AI tips. I am coming to you from AI for Interior Designers, and this is something that is super important right now, I think, for a lot of designers that are maybe like trying to reevaluate your current offerings and try to figure out like the direction of the industry, where your ideal client is going, what they are looking for, and honestly just find your own happiness within your services and your offerings. So this is a fun little exercise. Well, I think it's fun. I hope you do too. For you to basically be able to take this prompt, this information I'm going to give you right here, and then start a conversation with your ChatGPT account so that you can really start to flesh out like your services, your ideal client, like all that information. And while it might not be verbatim, and most likely will not be verbatim what you decide to do, it is an incredible tool for brainstorming and trying to figure out direction. Okay, that's what a lot of ChatGPT can help with. I don't really use it as like my final polished, I'm going to take this and run with it type of thing, but it is a great sounding board and like jumping off point for whatever I'm trying to plan. Or if I'm trying to pivot in my services or whatever, which is this conversation here for my design services that I plan to like relaunch and revamp for later this year. That's what it's for. It is basically to mirror you and use its infinite wisdom of like the general knowledge of whatever topic you're interested in. Okay, so here's a few questions that I would start with. Okay, and I'm going to give you guys this prompt this month versus the custom GPT that I did last month, just because you can choose to put all of these questions in at once. You can choose to copy, paste, and then go through and answer, or you can just go through and answer these questions and then paste your answers and then do a follow-up question. Okay, so let me kind of walk you through what this is here that I have on my screen. So the prompt is: act as my business strategist. Help me define a service or offer that sits at the intersection of what I love doing, what I'm skilled at or can deliver well. So these are your set of deliverables. What my ideal client actually wants and will pay for. And if you're not sure yet who your ideal client is or that target audience, you should definitely do that kind of an exercise first to figure out who you even want to work with before you can try and sell somebody a service, because you need to niche down at least to know what words to say that will actually like catch their attention, right? So you have to know who your ideal client is first before you do this exercise, all right? So now what will my ideal client actually want and what will they pay for? Things have changed drastically in the past, year, but honestly 5 years in this landscape of the interior design industry. So creating different types of services and, now competing with AI in some respect, we just need to make sure that we have pivoted enough to really bring that human experience and ensure that our end user values what we do, right? So that's what this question is in here for. Like, what are they going to pay for? What do they actually want? And does that align with your deliverables, the things that you like to do and that you love doing and that you're skilled at? All right, the next set of questions here are going to be, please ask me questions to guide this discovery process, including what types of projects or tasks light me up. What parts of my process come naturally or make me feel energized? What outcomes do clients thank me for or rave about? What do I not want to do anymore? Maybe you've got burnout. Maybe you just really despise part of the process. And you're like, how can I not do that? And how can I create a service that basically drops that from the deliverable list? What services do you already offer and which ones actually sell? Okay, just because we offer stuff doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's doing it and purchasing it. And maybe that's the disconnect. Maybe it's just you have this great service, but you're not speaking to the person that actually needs it and wants it, right? And so maybe that's where you could use this tool to really flesh out what that means and revamp your website. Okay, what do I wish people hired me for more often? I love that question. What transformation or outcomes does my ideal client want most? You know, for some people, it's just a simple declutter and make this more functional. And then for other people, it's putting on those finishing touches with decor and design and selecting custom art or custom upholstery. And it's different for everybody. Okay. So when it comes to your specific person that you want to work with, what are their pain points? How can you help them? Right. What are they willing to invest in right now, emotionally and financially? I love that question. Okay. And then are there gaps in the market that I could fill with my skill set? So now the wrap up here is going to be, once we explore this, help me shape 1 to 2 service offerings that I can test in my market. Include the deliverables, pricing ideas, and what messaging would make it irresistible to my target audience. Now, going back again, I do want to make sure that you have already told your ChatGPT who you want to work with. Okay, so just make sure that that information is in there so it can do that. And if you haven't defined that, go ahead and just say, look, I need help defining my target market. Here's what I do. Here's ideally who I want to work with. Here's the deliverables, all that type of stuff. And it can do the same thing that we're doing here and really take you from not knowing to way more clarity by the end of the conversation. Okay, so do that first. Include any information that you have to this exercise about services. Okay, so here, I plugged that in, all right, and then here it thought about it, right? So it's just basically like recapping what I put in, okay? So now this right here is where I answered when it like kind of reformatted and went a little bit more in depth with my basic prompt that I'm giving you, okay? So here I spoke into my phone, actually is how I recorded this one, using the dictate option. Okay, so down here at the bottom, you have dictate, and that is where you can go to just speak and voice dictate into your phone. If you want to do this voice to voice, that's the feature right here. Okay, it's always great when you're like just walking or driving or wherever, and you want to have that voice to voice conversation, it can talk back to you. So basically, I just said, here's the types of projects that I love. Here's the type of client that I work with. Well, it already knows because I've had many conversations about it. So I didn't get that in depth because my account already knows that information about me. And then basically, I want to do something that's really, really passive, but, a high return. So that's where it came back with like, all right, let's do some follow-ups. Let's do some more questions here so that I can really solidify these things based off of what you said. So basically everything was correct in the recap that it gave me, but I said, the internet, search the internet and look for demographic, because while it does know about me, it didn't know specifically some of these things about my target audience, which I'm pivoting to. So more of a millennial mom. It's me. I'm the millennial mom. So I am the client, but somebody that doesn't do the design stuff, obviously. So that information, I was like, these questions, if I knew that, would not necessarily be like, I wouldn't be coming to you for some of these things. So my reply when it gave me that beautiful recap was, if you were to search the internet and look for this demographic, how would you answer these questions? Okay, so that's always kind of a fun way to turn it back and research further and get more intel based off of like online search results. Now, I did also do these same prompts over in Perplexity because I do like how Perplexity searches the internet. It looks and sources information, so you can actually go and like figure out where it got the answer and the reply that it did. So do that if you prefer to like maybe compare the two. Perplexity is free for $20, and it actually is not a large language model itself like ChatGPT is. It contains a variety of large language models. So you have Claude by Anthropic in there. You've got Google Gemini. Let's see, there's Sonar, which is Perplexity's model. We have Grok is in here. And then for reasoning, we've got like Claude 4.0 by Sonnet, which is new for thinking. And then we've got a few other things in there too. But there's a ton of different models all inside of Perplexity. And it is like literally live link searching on the internet and then coming back with sources for where it found the information. Now, as you can see here, ChatGPT is also doing that. However, I don't love where it's getting the information here. It's very repetitive where it like finds the source and then really kind of sticks with it for like the whole answer. And they're the searches, in my opinion, that I would find if I were to just go Google something. But I'm looking for deeper than a Google search result. You know, I don't want the highest SEO rank to be the only answer that you're pulling from. And that's why I like Perplexity, because there's way more to it and it will continue the conversation and looking outside of these, the sources that are here. Now, with that being said, there's other models that can do more of a deep search on the internet. If you go to tools and then search the web, you should be able to find something there. Or you can also do deep search, but I can't because of the chat that I'm in. That model is not available here. So, but anyway, that's for another day, okay? I'm going to continue on here with just what my results were. So it's giving me, research. It's giving me information about like things that they do not like and then why they got that information. Like this is just basically demographic information, okay? What can this menu typically like hold, right? For price points and all this other stuff. And Decorilla, man, that pops up in all my stuff. Their SEO must be killing it. But, that's why I like Perplexity, because it actually doesn't usually pop up in there. Nothing bad about them, but like I want a variety. I want to see what other people are saying too. Okay, so we've got all of these different, resources and takeaways. And then my follow-up to this, after it gave me like, here's what your services should be, and here's why I back this information for your ideal client. Here's the research, right? So that's what it gave me here. Now, the follow-up prompt that I gave this is knowing what you know about me. And that's important because my account I've been using for 2 years, right? So it started actually locking in memory, not just lying about it like it used to. But it actually started to like remember all of our conversations and these discussions a few weeks, months ago, I guess at this point. So when that happened, now I can ask things like knowing what you know about me in our recent conversations for the direction of this, meaning we've had other conversations outside of this context. I want you to go look at those, right? And so can you create an outline of the business model, services, costs, deliverables, and brand voice and marketing strategy? So this kind of ties in all of the research, the ideal client exercises or input that you could provide, as well as previous just like brainstorming sessions. And then any additional things that you can also upload here that are like tangible. Here, I want to run with this type of thing. Or if you got on your website, link your website service page. All right. But it now gave me this beautifully formatted, here's your business model snapshot. Like digital products could make up 5% of your business, VIP sessions, like, and so on. Okay. These are things that I've been doing for years manually by hand. And like research, right? So this is incredible that this is now available in a matter of minutes. So that gives me this whole breakdown as to like, here's my flagship service. And I'm going to go in and rename these. I'm going to restructure all of these, but this was just right now. And then it gives me the price breakdown, the timeline to complete this type of service, and then the deliverables for that service, okay? Then we've got deliverable standards. So like the things that I need to deliver every single time that I know as a business owner that I want to have. And then a little snippet of my brand voice guide. Now I would also upload my brand voice. If you don't know how to train your AI models to talk like you, it all comes down to creating a brand voice and a brand kit. It's actually something that we're going to be doing live at the end of this month during the daily workshop. So if you want to join the June workshop, it is all about creating and establishing a brand voice that you can then reapply to your AI models. So they just know how to talk and reply like you. Okay, so that's on the 27th of June. You can check that out on AI for Interior Designers / workshops is the website link for that. Okay, so continuing on, we've got marketing strategy roadmap. So like, what are the goals for each of these platforms, and what should I be, how frequently should I be sharing, and what should I be sharing? Now, this is also opportunity to be like, okay, everything here is good and set. Now that everything's good and set, let's create like what I say. Like, what does the email say? What are the funnels? Let's write out 5 emails and tell me how to schedule them. What's my Instagram strategy to do 3 reels in a carousel weekly? Like, what do I say on those? Tell me the words. Okay. That is like the next step. So continue that conversation here. Cost and capacity planning. So like, how much could you actually take of each of these services each month or week or whatever? Your launch sequence. So it will write out like, here, this is what you need to do this week. This is what you need to do this week to make sure that this keeps moving so that you can actually launch it, which for a lot of us, right? Like it all has an idea. We're entrepreneurs, a lot of us, and we all start with these amazing ideas, but then we got burnt out when it actually comes to doing them and then officially launching them. So this is nice that it keeps you on a plan. Technically, you could even set reminders for ChatGPT or to put in your Google Calendar or wherever you have calendar updates to keep you on track. But this is a great way to build out your calendar, okay? Then we've got some metrics, that we need to keep an eye on. And then right here we have just a bottom line, like, here's what all of this is about in a nutshell, okay? Now, I do continue on with this conversation. I have it perform a SWOT analysis. That's basically just looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and threats. It's called a SWOT analysis if you want to also check that out. I prefer to do my SWOT analysis for different services, different business models in general, on Perplexity, just because I find that more diverse, and also I can actually go and look at where it got the information from and why it gave me that information. Unlike right here, where I don't have any links to why. It's just kind of like, here, based off our conversation, here's what I think your SWOT analysis is. But there's no like sourcing in this. Now there would be if I used other models in here, but again, I have done that. And at this point in time, in early June, I do prefer Perplexity when it comes to like deep online analysis. But that's not to say that that could change in a day, in a week, like let's talk next month. I will be back with your next AI tip in July. All right. So I hope that this was helpful for you to basically start with a prompt and then learn how to like take it from step A or step 1 through to see the end and actually get results from what you're prompting and have a full-on conversation, not just like, hey, what should I do, with no context. This is how I do it. This is actually just the start of how I do it. And then it's just a constant conversation and finessing and uploading of relevant information that I've landed on that I actually want to use, and then saying, okay, thank you for that. Here's what I want to do now. Okay. So I hope this is helpful. I will see you next month, but thank you guys for watching. I'll see you.